So I messaged him. I was like, hey, I'm just going to pick him up today. Once I get done at like 3:15. Weather's supposed to start popping off at like 2:30. My youngest is with my mom who lives in Verona. So then she's got to drive him out here. And like, it's a whole circus. It's a whole thing.
I had the thought, I was like, oh, yeah, dismissal's going to suck. And I was like, oh, wait, our kids are home.
Oh
I'm
my
clearly
God.
not in my building right now.
Yeah,
Shh, don't tell.
it is going to suck.
So Casey's back.
I feel like I never
Back,
left.
Casey.
No, it has been a while.
We haven't had a guest for a while. And for those of you that are longtime listeners or OG listeners, this will be your third time or fourth time. This might be your fourth time on. Third at least.
Third, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know if fourth.
But since Casey's on, we're going to do all about eights. But we're going to tie in some of the stuff, the constructs and different things that Tannah and I have talked about recently on the pod and ask Casey about how she feels about them.
Awesome. I'm very behind because it's busy time and my commute is 3 minutes. So I've not been listening. So you'll have to catch me up on like terms and things.
Yes. So
I share that commute time. It's lovely.
It is very lovely, but I was like, oh, I'm way behind on podcasts.
Yeah.
I made Aaron listen to the podcast with me on the way to work yesterday in the car. I was like, there's a podcast you should be listening to. And he was like, okay.
Oh, Aaron.
How funny.
Yeah. He did give me a hard time about the shingles comment from one of our recent podcasts.
I knew he would. He wasn't. I thought he might have heard that part while you were editing.
No, he didn't. He heard it after the fact, but made a point to tell me that he will pick out his own fucking shingles. I was like, great.
Boom.
Okay.
Can't wait to listen to that and see what this was in reference to. Because that could have gone either way, shingles vaccine or shingles
No,
of the
shingles
house.
for the sauna.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but before we rabbit hole on all the things, welcome to Enneagram Adventure. This is Tannah and I's podcast where we talk about life and all sorts of things, mostly through the lens of the Enneagram. Anything you want to add, Tannah?
My usual disclaimer that the Enneagram is about your core motivation rather than your behavior, which is timely because I feel like eights often their behavior is referenced in association with them, that it's easy to forget about that marshmallow that's wrapped in barbed wire and how it got to be that way. So my usual disclaimer, and that's it. Welcome back, Casey.
Yeah, it's good to be here. I'm ready to talk about myself.
Awesome. Awesome.
Here we go on eights. Before we go into childhood triangle, maybe we should do a quick reminder of core motivation of an eight through a lens, like Casey can tell us how she relates to the core motivation of an eight. And then we can jump into childhood triangle, unmet needs, all the things.
Yep. So as an eight, what I resonate most with is, the not being in control, being seen as weak. Those are my core motivations of taking control of a situation or appearing strong, working on that personally of vulnerability and practicing that. And what does that look like and feel like? But yeah, so that's things I used to avoid that now I try to do more of or be more cognizant of.
I did have somebody ask me or bring up recently, Tannah, I think you were there for this comment about the definition of things like vulnerability and how one person can think they're being really vulnerable, but another person can be like, that's not vulnerable at all.
Yes.
So what does it look like for you to show up as vulnerable?
For me, it is I would say what I've been working on the most in my own personal vulnerability. And again, I agree with that because I used to be like, well, no, I share things all the time. I'm vulnerable. Well, that's not it. For me, it is not masking my emotions with anger or if I have an anger response, deciding what is the emotion that it's actually coming over. Anger is kind of coming out, but there's usually another emotion of hurt, embarrassed, things like that. And so for me, it's actually sharing that emotion and not just I'm angry. It is a lot of internal work of being aware of yourself and like, yes, anger might be my initial response, but my emotions are other things. I would say for an 8, being vulnerable is allowing help. That's also what I've been working on with Brandon, of like recognizing what help looks like. I'm not saying like somebody's coming over and like cleaning my house or, like, oh, I need help picking up an order. So I don't, whatever, that kind of thing. But like actually like letting people help me process things or talk through things, letting people help me by like supporting me or showing up for me, that kind of thing. That cleared up anything that you asked.
It did. Yeah.
That vulnerability piece is interesting, Casey. I had so particularly when you say like showing up, allowing other people to show up for you, I had a moment with my 8 husband this morning. So he just bought a book, and he's like not a book reader, but it's called like, I don't know, something about not drowning. And it's by like some ex-Navy SEAL named Andy Stump, who's on a bunch of different podcasts. And I started reading the book because he's not a book reader. There was a book on his nightstand. I started reading it. And so I had it downstairs this morning, and he's like, oh, I bought another copy. And this guy actually will like have you write a message, and he'll sign it like with that message inside of it. So he did that for one of the guys that he works with at work, in this like, hey, if you're ever feeling, like your head is not above water, like reference this book, you carry us as a team, like blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, that is so interesting, because it's so much easier for other people to do that for him, or like the reverse that. It's easier for him to do that for other people than it is for him to be vulnerable for like how much something like that would mean to him. I think he
Yep.
would want someone to do it for him, but it's the vulnerability behind like how much it means.
Mhm.
Does that resonate at all with like the showing up for allowing other people to show up for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't want to have to tell anybody to do it, but like if they did it, I would be like, oh, they care about me, and then you get that marshmallowy, piece.
Wow.
So,
Do you have a hard time like kind of releasing the vulnerability of the appreciation when the thing is done for you? Or does that naturally come out?
I feel like that naturally comes out because I'm very like words of affirmation type person where I am constantly saying, like, oh, thank you so much, or like that was super helpful. Um, but if
Mhm.
I mean, and that's just kind of like again doing like tasks or things, if it's a true like thoughtful moment, I definitely probably would feel like uncomfortable, but I would also be like, oh, thank you in a genuine way,
Yeah.
not just like oh,
Yeah.
hey, thanks.
Do you get, I sometimes get weirded out. I was talking, how many times will we reference Brandon on this podcast? We should turn this into a drinking game. I'm kidding. Most people
Yeah.
listen to this while driving.
Yeah,
But,
don't do that.
but
Drink your car safe beverage every time you
yeah,
hear
every time you
Brandon's.
hear Brandon.
Hey, that would
Thanks.
actually be a good way to keep hydrated with water.
Yes. Or coffee. You want to be caffeinated? You could be drinking coffee. Okay. Anyway, he and I were talking this morning in relation to my accident and like how weirded out I feel when people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're okay. And like how they make kind of a big deal out of that. And sometimes when people do things to help me, it also gives me that same kind of feeling. And it's not that I'm not grateful, but it's like I don't know what to do with it. Like I don't know how to accurately or like adequately, not accurately, adequately like acknowledge that.
Do you feel like that's like a millennial thing though? Like how we were raised? I mean, I was raised to like write thank you notes and things, but like I was also like raised to take care of it myself. I don't know, like
Yeah, like it just part of me is like, well, I'm okay because my car happens to be very safe, right? Like right, like
Mhm.
I don't know, it just weirds me out.
It's like
Immediately to logic.
logic. I was gonna say it's not rationalizing it, it's like going to
Immediately.
logic.
Logic.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
So I think there is something to like the generational piece of it, but I would also say though, the response for that, Holly, is always a little weird. Like when somebody's like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you're okay." Like
Like,
same. I
thank
don't know.
you. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, I don't know what to say.
I
Anyway, I
thank
just
you.
wondered if it was
Yeah.
like the
I
same
don't
as
know
when
what to do
somebody
with my
like,
hands.
not gonna say it.
You did it.
I did it.
I think you do it more than now my students do it. I feel like that's also an adult thing
Eh,
now.
I was
I hear
41
it more
now.
from adults than kids.
Yeah, well, they've moved on
We've moved on.
to the next set of strange numbers that mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so anyway, back to the 8 thing.
Well, one more thing about that though is my 8 husband is so awkward with expressing gratitude that I usually get it in the form of a text message where he'll do this thing where he sends this super nice text message that's like, "Hey, I know you've been doing XYZ. I need you to know I really appreciate it." Naturally, my heart is like overflowing. I don't care if it's a text. Like it's lovely, but he always describes it as like he will do much better if he's writing it than saying it. Oh,
I would be curious of other eights. Like this is a poll because I'm also that way. I am much more confident and comfortable writing than I do speaking. I will even write something before I have to verbally like have the conversation.
oh, interesting. That's very
A
interesting.
control piece of like knowing
It's
what's being said.
You know what's also really interesting? I have a hunch that my father-in-law is also an 8, and he is a sentimental card guy. So like if a Father's Day or a birthday or something were to pass and he doesn't get like a very sentimental card from both of his sons, he's legitimately disappointed and I think it's because he can't really articulate, but like after he had a cancer diagnosis, he is now in the clear. But even after that, he'll send many more text messages that are like, happy birthday. He says them like for my birthday. He's like, to the best daughter-in-law and mom we could ever ask to be in our family. We love you so much, blah, 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 blah. And it's that sentimental value of the written word, but they can't for the life of them say it out loud.
This is an interesting connection. I thought it was just me, but
no, it's definitely not just you. But I'm trying to think, Casey, though. I feel like I've heard like,
I'm very verbal. Like,
yeah, I've heard you say like
oh,
I mean, maybe not like
yeah.
full like mushy, but like
Yeah.
very nice things about
Yeah.
and to people.
Yes. But I would say like this whole like I will make, I don't much anymore just because I don't take the time to do it. But like, I think back when like my sister was expecting and like in labor and I wrote a post of like my mom and her mom and like, and then I'll write this
Yeah.
entire paragraph about like how that's that situation. Or I get that from my mom though too. She writes like paragraph essays about her like Facebook posts, like about her photos and things. So like I do that too, to just kind of like capture all my thoughts and feelings.
I do miss when
Interesting.
social media was like more about those sorts of things versus like,
Influencers and ads and
yeah.
all the other and
It's
political
just where
stuff.
I go to buy shit anymore. Like that's just where I go to buy things.
You're part of
I am.
Anyway.
I'm a marketer's dream. Let me be incredibly clear.
And not that I'm not
Easily
like,
influenced.
yeah. Yes, I have been influenced by the TikTok skincare influencers for sure. Anyway, let's pivot to childhood triangle. So last week we talked about childhood triangle, which is sort of a psychological construct that I learned about on another podcast. And I was like, oh, this like lines up perfectly with the Enneagram. But the 3 questions with it, and Tannah, make sure I don't forget one of them. The 3 questions that go with the childhood triangle are: 1, what did you need to do or keep friends, like to get or to keep friends? What did you need to do or avoid to feel safe? And what did you need to do to get rewarded, and love is considered a reward.
Man, okay. I don't do very well with like memory. So I can remember specific things, but of like going
Brandon,
back into
take a drink of water.
right, go back into like my memory. I'm very much in the moment and then you move on. But like I'm also very nostalgic, so it's really weird. Okay, so the first one was
What do you need to do to get or keep friends?
yeah, that one's a tough one. I feel like I always had a best friend in elementary school, but I also felt on the outside, of like other people that I have talked to Brandon about. That was one of the first things way back when, but he kind of like skimmed over friends and went right to parents and mom. Just in case anybody
Yeah.
didn't know that about him. Anyway, so friends, like I often had, oh, that's really interesting now that I think about it. So my best friend in 4, 5, and 6, I was in a different school and I was in grades 4, 5, and 6. I was at the Catholic school. My best friend was very quiet and very reserved. So there's that piece of like, oh, I probably was protecting her or something. I don't know. And then my middle school best friend, I think I also felt like I had to like protect her and keep her safe. But then in high school, I was the planner. I like planned all the things. I was like, oh, I'm having people at my house, or oh, we're doing prom. There's an itinerary, just so y'all know. That did happen. And yeah, so I was the planner. I just would always organize, even if it wasn't at my house, it was, whoever was hosting. I'm like, okay, hey y'all, we're all going here. So I don't know. I felt like I maybe had to keep the groups together along the way. I don't know if that fits
Yes.
what the triangle is.
Yeah.
I am not that way anymore as much, but because my high school friends will notice that, but I was very much like in control in the planner in high school. And that's what, I would make sure that things were happening and that we were all hanging out.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
So the second side of the triangle is what did you need to do or avoid to feel safe?
Really good question. I just would do all the things to feel safe.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you were like, I stayed busy and that made me feel safe.
Yep.
Like that's that's
Mhm.
real. Like it's like the we never slow down and actually examine anything.
Yes. Yeah, I would say if we're talking high school, I actually like after I graduated high school, I actually had major regrets because I was like, I don't remember anything of the 4 years. Like, did I even stop to enjoy it? Like I was in everything. Like I was in swim team, I was the student council officer, I was in show choir, I was in band, my freshman year, I was a basketball statistician. Then I was a cheerleader, then like all the things. I was in dance and 4-H outside of school. I worked once I was old enough. Like after that, I was like, oh, what did I even do for the last 4 years? So yeah, I kept busy. When it came to like home situations, it would be like it wasn't me feeling safe, but it was keeping my little sister safe. Like focusing on, if my parents were fighting or my parents and my brother were fighting, my sister and I were in my room. As I got older, I would fight and then I would like get away. Like I would need to remove myself to keep myself safe. And that was a point of contention for people who want to fight right in the moment. That doesn't work well for
withdrawing.
AIDS.
Yeah.
Also withdrawing, but it's also like I knew I would say or do something that I would regret, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need much time. I promise. I don't need much time, but I do need some.
My gosh,
We'll
it's
come-
like one of the things that just grinds my gears about my husband because if there's like underlying tension, I'm like, let's go. Say it. Say it. Say it with your chest right now. And he's like, I'm not interested in having this conversation right now.
Because it's going to come out in a way that other people don't want to hear.
Yes. Like he's cognizant enough to know that if he says the thing in that moment, he's going to say something that he doesn't mean.
So the last side is the what did you need to do to feel rewarded or get rewarded?
I think to be like recognized by people. Again, like words of affirmation or to feel like I belonged or like I was fitting into whatever it was, that I was good enough to be there. I often was a leader. So I was on the swim team and I was one of two. Well, we had more than 2 seniors, but I was like, I had been on the swim team my entire career. I wasn't the fastest swimmer. but then I was a captain my senior year. I was voted on to homecoming court my senior year because I was friends with all of the underclassmen. And so, their votes counted, and, I was friends with everybody. I just kind of I was a chameleon in high school. I was a group hopper. I would go from group to group. I never sat at the same lunch table every day. I sat everywhere. I was a dance captain of the swing choir. So I guess I needed that like recognition of
Yeah,
you're
that makes sense.
you're showing up here and you're good enough to be in this space. Even though you're not the best, like I knew I wasn't. I was like, I'm not going to go win state for swimming. Like, I'm not even going to make it to sectionals. Like, don't care. But I can still lead my team and they still know that I'm valuable, I guess.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say that it was a confidence thing, like to some extent?
Like a confidence booster, or I had confidence?
Like you lacked confidence, so you tried to show it in a different way?
Yes. I would say I lack confidence, never. This comes up all the time with Brandon of like, never feeling good enough. I think that also is a human thing. I don't think that's just an 8 thing. I never felt good enough, whether it was my physical ability or, my social ability or whatever it was. I never felt like I was good enough. And so I had to just like assert myself and take my place.
Interesting.
Yeah. Makes sense. I think
But I'm glad it makes
yes,
sense.
it makes sense. I think what's interesting too about you to talk about the answers to every side of the triangle is that how linked they are together, right? Like I gained and kept friends by being protective and and then like I felt safe and by planning, and then I felt safe by being busy and then also protecting my siblings, right? And then the way that felt like a reward was being recognized for the things I was doing to keep others safe or to keep others included and involved. They all go together. But then that whole idea of around protection, like very much is 8. And the planning part of it is very much 8 from the I'm going to control this situation.
And that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I don't feel like I belong, I'm going to create the setting where I belong because people depend on me to create this event or to organize this event or this gathering. And I feel like then that also reflects like where I am now as an adult of like, I don't need to be in charge of planning anything in order to feel like I belong. I still enjoy, like, there are things where I will plan. I mean, clearly I was in charge of the relay last weekend, but other like social settings, I don't invite people over to my apartment. I go wherever everybody else is. Like, I'll show up if I'm invited.
Yes. Yes. I also think that's an 8 thing. I don't know if it's across the board, but every 8 that I know, like as at a deeper level, like more than a superficial level, has to be invited. Right. And that's very important to them. Not to make this about human design, but they're also mostly projectors, right? I think that's what yeah. Anyway, that's a whole different rabbit hole. We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, but that piece of that inviting piece is that's again going to that vulnerability of like we actually do want to belong. Like we do want to fit in. We say we don't care, but that's a bold-faced lie. And so it's like, you do get all warm and gooey when somebody thinks of you or includes you.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Again, like it's hard for me to like not think about it through the husband lens, but he is such a homebody. But I think for him, it's a control thing where I know what's going to happen when I'm here and like it's safe. And he just feels like he's more in control of his environment. But that also could be the profession and whatever else it is.
Right. And even though, as an 8, and again, maybe because I don't know, you'll have to ask him about the inviting thing of like, we're still going to say no if we don't want to do it because we're not scared to say no. But, if he at least feels tingly inside, like, ooh, like they thought of me,
Yeah.
even though I'm not going, but hey, cool. Like I'm in, they thought of me, they included me. I don't
Do
know.
you feel
I'd be
guilty if you
curious.
don't? Like, even if you're not afraid to say no, do you ever feel guilty for not?
For
Interesting.
not showing up to something? No. I
Yeah.
sometimes have my own personal regret well, and this is more lately of like, I'm in the, trying to put myself out there more in the dating world and just like meet more people in general to make those connections. And so like I'll sit at home and I'll be like, oh, that's a lot of work. And that's I don't want to get ready and I don't want to go out and whatever it is. And I'll have regrets after for like not going, my own like personal regret, but I won't feel guilty about if I don't show up to something. Usually I'll show up just because I want, but if I don't want to, I won't. Usually I want to though. I will say no to a concert.
Yeah, she always says no to a concert.
Why is that?
Oh, the amount of people and no. I like to have my own space. I will go to a concert where I have an assigned seat. I don't, part of it is being an 8, but I'm also 5'1.5". And so if I can't
Oh,
see,
sure.
yeah, like I've gotten elbowed to the head, more times than I can count. Yeah, it's really, it's fun.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was thinking it was like a control thing where you're like, all these other
No,
people that I don't know, and like I don't have
no,
control over the environment.
no, it's my physical space. Like my personal bubble is invaded because people don't care. And that bothers me. There's no
Private
boundary
square.
respect at a exactly.
I won't sing it for everyone that's listening because then we might lose listeners.
I almost did, but yeah, let's not. I actually have it
Look up the
upcoming in a
no-no
third
song.
grade lesson. The boundary song.
Okay, well, what was your question around muchness?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm curious about, and I will admit too that my husband knows this about me, to be fair. This isn't something I hide from him. But if there is an environment where I perceive that, like, he might say or do something that might be too much, like, he might offend someone or he might, like, I don't know. Like, he says what's on his mind. Like, he just says the thing. And sometimes that scares the life out of my 2 self, where we are thinking about how is anyone else going to feel about that? So I'm curious about the too much where, like, have you heard that in, like, throughout your life and in any one particular stage of your life, whether that be like, you know, super young to high school to now, have you heard that you're too much? And how does that feel for you?
Don't know. Trying to think of like, I don't know if I've been ever like explicitly told I'm too much. I mean, sometimes maybe they're like, oh, Casey, you have a lot of energy or, whatever it might be. But like, I've never felt like that was in a too much way. But I've always internalized, like, I've always felt like I would show up in a space and then all of a sudden people's behavior would be different or like not getting invited or not being included in friend groups, things like that, where I'm like, oh, apparently they don't like me, and it's like, oh, I guess I'm too much, or I'm even trying to think of like past relationships too, but I actually never felt it was more not feeling good enough as opposed to too much. But like I'm too weird, I'm too annoying, I'm too talkative, I'm too like blunt, and whatnot. But I don't know
So
if I've
you've
ever been
heard all of those
explicitly told.
things?
No, I felt that way. Like that was
Oh, you felt that
that
way.
was me internalizing why people would either like not include me or pull away or their behavior would change. And it's probably because I said something that hurt people's feelings or, or they're like, oh, that's weird, or just thought I was weird. I don't know. So no, I've never been explicitly told I was too much.
Do you think
Okay.
growing up in the Midwest, like with 8 energy, that like 8 energy in the Midwest is received totally different than 8 energy would be received on the East Coast, for example?
Correct.
So I wonder too if some of what you were perceiving was a little bit in the Midwest, like, which I think the Midwest is a 9 culture.
Right.
Like if that also contributed to how you read other people and their intentions.
Yeah, no, I agree because that's like I actually get along pretty well with like people from the East Coast. And like they don't bother me. Whereas like so we had a guest teacher who was from Jersey, and like there were staff and kids who were so turned off. And I was like, like I don't notice anything. Like she's telling it how it is. And so like I understand that. I agree though. Like yeah, the Midwest culture is oh, we don't say that. We don't say that out loud. I mean, I have been called out on in that way of like, oh my God, Casey, Laura does this sometimes. Casey, you just like you can't say that. Like I did. I did say it. So anyway, and she's not the only one. I mean, my mom has said it, or whatever, my sister. But I'm like,
But why can't I?
right, you just don't want to
Yeah.
hear it. Or you're just
That's
afraid of how they're
very
going to react. Oh, those people are staring at us. Well, yeah, but what they were doing was socially not okay. Like they're idiots.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I have said that.
That's so interesting because again, my suspected 8 father-in-law, like I think I've talked about this before, but when we're out to dinner with them, he'll just like say things when the waiter or waitress is literally right there, and you're like, oh my God, did you just say that?
Yep.
And like he's a little bit more on a more escalated level because even my 8 husband is like, you can't do that. You can't say that. But that is very interesting because I think for my husband, we've talked a little bit about this before, but he believes that his too muchness also like has some sort of tie to the level of control that he needs in a situation. Like he talks about where he's kind of used it as a thermometer in some ways. Where I don't know what your subtype is, Casey. Is it social or one-to-one? What is it?
Self-pres.
Okay.
Self-preservation.
So Landon's a social 8. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but he honestly uses it sometimes as a test to see like, okay, is this group like, am I okay to be myself around this group?
He'll do something that's too much to like intentionally see how they react.
Yeah, like
Is that
he'll
what you're
just
saying?
kind of say something. And then you can kind of see him like gauging the room.
Okay. Yeah. And see, I don't do that, but I also don't filter what I say all the time. I'm working on that though. Saying things tactfully.
And a 1-to-1 8, Holly, that you and I both know, has been told many times that she is too much.
Well, that 1-to-1 subtype like ramps up in the 8 energy, right?
Yes.
You and I know a male 1-to-1 8 too who like walked in a room and took all the space, every bit of it.
Yeah.
And I really attribute that because 8s can do that a little bit just naturally, but the 1-to-1, like the whole thing
Yes.
about him, right?
Yes.
His shoes, his clothes, the bracelets he would wear, like, yes.
Yeah. She is often told, and she says it about herself all the time too. I think she says it as like a little bit of a defense mechanism to make herself feel better, right? But
right. You can't hurt me with it.
yeah.
One of them have to be on this podcast. I don't know if she listens, but
She does intermittently because she'll message me when she hears a story about herself. Casey, she was I don't know if you listened to that episode, but she was the one that got the gift of the Bible and the cross from a family member.
Yes.
And I am so grateful I was not in that room. I am uncomfortable thinking about the secondhand awkward tension that was in that room.
He was probably nicer in there than I would have been, actually. Like,
Yeah.
I think my 8 would have come out in maybe an unhealthy way that would have been like to the tune of like, you can just like take that right home with you.
I'm not keeping this in my house.
Yeah.
That is something. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go.
Well, so gift giving. So I don't wanna go off of what you were gonna like if you're still saying about this.
No, no, go
No.
ahead.
Okay. So it was my birthday a couple weeks ago. I am getting terrible when I get oh my God, I need to just shut my mouth sometimes. Like I I don't think I've gotten a gift in a while that I haven't like said what I was thinking. Like
Really?
I
Like,
don't
even if you hate it,
no, it's
you'll
usually
just
not a
be
hate
like,
like so a couple days so my what happened at Christmas? Something my mom gave me and I was just like, "Oh, these aren't the right oh, the socks." And it was my own fault because I sent the wrong link or I thought I had the right style sock, the features. I thought I had the right style, they were too thick, and I was like, "Oh, these are the wrong style." Like, oh my God. I was just like afterwards mortified. I'm like, "Oh." But then this is where then I go out to the other side and I'm like, "Oh, I wore my socks today." And they was, and like I send that appreciative text because in the moment I can't say. But anyway, so on my birthday a couple weeks ago, well, it was Easter when we celebrated because that was Sunday. But anyways, we were talking about gift cards and my brother's girlfriend brought up Target and I was like, "Yeah, I don't shop at Target anymore, but I have all these gift cards for Target." Well, what do I open from my sister and her family? A Target gift. I was like, "No, I have these gift cards. I have to go shopping." And then my mom
well, technically,
loves
you're
sentimental
not
things.
spending the money. So,
Right. Right. I was like, "Well, I mean, I'll still use it. I just" but it's like that's kind of the where I'm like, sometimes I feel like people don't know me or understand me. I'm like, I've been pretty open about where I stand politically, and where I stand politically is the same camp that we hate Target now because Target was stupid and whatever. And so I'm like, then I don't feel understood, I guess, if I'm like, whatever. But anyways, well then my mom does Pandora gift charms or whatever. And I open the one from her and I'm like, oh, Dumbo, I already have this one. Like this is literally what comes out. I'm like,
Casey's just like thought straight to mouth.
and that's what I was thinking because
that
we're
mouth.
like, it's a gut reaction. And that's why maybe we like this. I was thinking about this when we were talking about the messaging, and I'm like, that's probably also why we prefer writing because it's not our direct like gut response, and we actually have to stop and think about it. But I really had this realization, and I'm like, I need to work on this because man, I am so ungrateful and appreciative. Or it sounds
It
like it. I'm
is
very grateful and appreciative, but it comes off as, oh, your thought wasn't enough. Sorry. Sorry, everyone.
interesting. Well,
Do you
I
think
think
it's
about it
interesting
when
that
what you were talking about with gift giving, like between gift giving and then when we were talking about vulnerability earlier, and it's hard for you to be like, I don't know, it's not receive a compliment. Like, what am I
Mm.
trying to tie this to here? My husband will do the same thing. He'll hold up whatever it is that I got, and if it's too big or too small or whatever, he'll be like, "This is too big," and then
Okay,
he'll
see,
just set it
okay, at
down, and
least
I'm like, "Fuck, like you're welcome."
it's so bad. I feel so ungrateful. And then I'm like, you know, I feel terrible.
But I
And then I
do
have to
appreciate
overcompensate.
it. But here's the Midwest thing, right? Because I do appreciate it because the alternative is that he never tells me that it's too big or whatever, and then it sits in the back of his car with a receipt that he never, or he'll put it in his closet and never wear it. That's the
Mhm.
alternative. At least then if he tells me, then he can go get something that he wants or that actually fits.
Right, right. Well, and I know like around the holidays when all of the Enneagram, like Instagram posts and things are out about like gift, whatever. I mean, the Enneagram 8 is all about like practicality, things that we can use. And so again, it's like I just turned 38 and if y'all don't know me, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know.
Let me
So it's hard.
ask you this question. Would you like a surprise birthday party as an 8? Now that we're on the gift train. I just had this
Well,
thought.
do we really want to process Casey's history with surprises?
yes.
Yes. So I have had one surprise birthday in my life, and my little sister ruined it. She was like 6 at the time because I think it was my 10th birthday. no, it was 6th grade. No, she was older than that, but still, she was little. She was like 8. So it's like I have, I have to forgive her, but yet now it's like, so anyway, so I had a surprise birthday party. My sister told me the morning of because she answered a question I asked. I was like, "Oh, there's cheesecake in the freezer." She's like, "Oh yeah, that's for your birthday." Mind you, this was the middle of the summer, but that was the whole point of it. Like, it was really going to be a surprise because we were camping. And so I was like, "Oh, my birthday." And I was like, "Well, when is it?" And she's like, "Today." And then
My
my parents drove
God.
me out to the campground where the camper was. And I'm like, well, I know my friends are all here, so like clearly haven't let go of that. But like, I, I know you would say because I don't have control over it, but like, again, that would be that vulnerability of like, that would mean so much to me that somebody cared enough to do that for me kind of piece. Like, because if I don't know
Interesting.
about it, I don't care about having control over it.
Well, watch me ruin your next birthday, but if we could arrange for this,
Yeah.
I
Because
can make this happen.
like I had this one surprise birthday party and then it was ruined and I've never had one since.
So interesting. Because it would make you think, to your point, that because you don't have control over it, you're like, "Oh, like, this is making me uncomfortable." But it's funny that, like, oh, somebody would do this for me, and the thought behind that means more than the control.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
Interesting.
wouldn't, if it was an event that I didn't even know was happening, I don't have to have control over. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I mean, I've even said, well, I haven't said this out loud because I don't plan on having a big wedding or anything. I don't plan on getting married, by the way, by anytime soon. But like, I've thought about that of like, I don't want to deal with that. I will hire somebody to make the decisions for me. Like, that's how far I've come. Like, I don't have the time
Yes.
for that. I don't want to deal with that. Somebody else can make the decisions for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This
I
is coming
feel
from the person that had an itinerary at prom so that everybody was on time.
facts. Facts. Hey, I give you
Are you
props for the itinerary at prom. High school kids, come on.
Well, so the issue was, this is the control thing, is there was a track meet and a volleyball game, or no, not volley. That doesn't make sense. Softball. Sorry. There was a track meet and a softball game that day. And so like we were on like a strict timeline.
It was a
If we wanted,
schedule.
there's a schedule. And I do not have a single decent picture from prom because we were so rushed that like, and everybody's cameras, like it turned out terrible. I don't have a single, I have no prom pictures. I mean, I have them, but they're like blurry. Whereas
Oh,
now, like
funny.
people post all these like extravagant pictures in front of the Capitol, and I was like, nope, I don't think I have a single one.
you also would have gone to prom like either in the days of early digital camera
Mhm.
or
Yes,
film.
it was early
Disposable.
digital.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
When the cameras were like thick,
Mm-hmm.
small digital cameras though.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely weren't in phones yet.
No, no, no. I don't. I mean,
No.
I was one of the very few people, even my junior year of high school, that had a phone, and it was a Nokia. They were called the penny phone because you got them for 1 cent, and they were like
Yeah,
this
the
big.
brick or yeah.
Yeah, they weren't the brick ones.
But they were
They
like,
were after that
yeah.
because they were really little actually.
Yeah.
And then it was stolen out of my locker. Sad day. Then I got my first
It's
flip phone.
devastating.
I know. It wasn't my fault.
Devastating.
Somebody else left my locker open.
What are we missing
Which
on
kind?
8?
Well, I was gonna ask about anger a little
All
bit.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you did kind of
I
open with
did.
that.
I
Yes.
did.
We should maybe circle back on that.
Mm-hmm. And I've been doing
Yeah.
a lot of work with that, like in my profession as a school counselor. So that's also where some of that has come from too, with like anger being a secondary emotion.
So tell me about that when you say secondary instead of
Um,
like
yeah. So
instead of
usually
primary? Like how does
Yeah,
that
so
work?
usually when somebody is angry, it's actually masking like what actually they're feeling. Like often it's either hurt or embarrassment,
Grief.
grief. Yeah, so anger kind of covers, like anger comes out stronger and you notice it and you see it, but there's actually something underneath it. So like when somebody is angry and like defensive, they're usually protecting something. Anger is, as my students are learning in my Monday group, is anger is protecting us from something. And we have to figure out what that is.
Do you just want to come to my house on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday evenings during the school week from the
No.
hours of 5:30 until 7?
Nope.
When we use the word unexpected a lot in my house.
Ooh, yes. I use that a lot at school. It's unexpected.
Oh
Is
my
that like a
gosh.
new like teaching kids feelings thing to say it's unexpected?
No, that's a behavior thing. Like that's an
Oh.
unexpected behavior.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not feelings related. Yep.
Yes.
Like that's unexpected.
It's
I don't
yeah,
know the
like,
point
oh,
of
well, that
teaching
was
that, but
unexpected. Yeah.
yeah.
It started in 4K with my kids where they talk about something being unexpected and that like I don't know if it's because it creates distance or detaches like, something
He
about that
personalizes
person.
it,
Mhm.
maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the behavior, like you're not bad, but the behavior was an unexpected behavior in this
Unexpected.
moment.
Yeah.
Or like in a certain setting. Like, oh, you're screaming at me. That's unexpected for this situation.
Yes. Like my 7-year-old will do that when like he'll get so angry if he's interrupted. And he has a 4-year-old brother. It's basically
Mm,
the first job of a sibling to just interrupt people. Like it's
yes.
rule number 1, you will interrupt any and every conversation that you are not a part of. My 7-year-old will get so angry. Like so angry. But like my 7-year-old is the first one to be like raise a hand, but just start speaking. Like not wait.
Mm.
As you're talking, I'm now like my 7-year-old might be an 8.
He's tried on a whole lot of hats, hasn't he?
He has.
8 wouldn't surprise me just because you live with an 8, and 8's
Yep.
also opposite of you on
Uh-huh.
the line, so wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, it definitely would not surprise me. He also we're learning so we're working with school on some rigidity around challenge. That was why I asked about confidence actually, Casey, because confidence has been a huge challenge for him. And so he will avoid things altogether if he doesn't feel like he's going to be the best at it. But you give him an opportunity to teach someone else how to do something, he's at his best.
Mhm.
So I get a message from school a few weeks ago that's like, there's a friend that needs extra support that's learning. He didn't know how to play basketball and Keegan took the time to teach him how. But then if you try to teach him how to play basketball, he's like, yeah, kick rocks. I'm not trying it. I'm not the best at it. Bye.
Aw, that's sweet though. That he was helping someone.
Well, that reads 3 to me versus
It might
8.
be.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
He's
didn't
tried on 3
sound.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't avoid things if I'm not good at them, clearly. Like I said, not being a fast swimmer, not being the best dancer, not being the fastest triathlete, that doesn't bother me. I just show up.
There is an
That's what
element
I'm
of
trying
that
to get him
that's
to.
there is an element of that though that is 5. I don't
Mm.
want to do it if I'm not the best at it. There is an element of that that's 5. So you could still have that in the background.
But I would love if he were a 5. That would be so great. I think the youngest one's going to be a 7, but that's just my take.
I mean, the world needs more 7s.
It's where he's trending.
4.
Trending 7. This was
I thought I did
fun.
red.
Yes, this was fun. It's good to have a guest. We need to do this
Yeah.
more often.
And I got to see you
Otherwise-
2 weekends in a row. How
I
fun.
know, exciting.
Yeah. Yes. Our
So
listeners
fun.
probably don't. Did we talk about the relay?
We did not talk about the relay because we recorded before the relay.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So for our listeners, if you've made it to this far in this podcast, last weekend, we were part of a group that did a relay to support someone running an ultra marathon. We're not going to unpack that now, though, because we're out of time. But yes.
We'll talk about that in case you
Yeah.
organize the chaos. So thank you, Casey.
Yes.
Yes.
I just wish it would have been less windy.
Well,
It was still
We-
fun.
it was still fun.
It was.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, this was so good.
Yeah.
I'm glad
thanks
that
for
this
having
worked
me.
out. Oh my gosh, Flora's having a
Sorry, that
Yeah.
wasn't
Find
even
us on all the
ending.
platforms. Like,
Yes.
subscribe, comment if you've made it this far. We appreciate
ask
you.
questions. Yeah. Leave a review. Share this with your friends. Yeah. All the
Can
stuff.
you guys hear
Okay.
him right now? He's shouting. Can you hear him? Oh, he's like, hello? Who's in here?
Perfect. Just your mom. That's great.
My
And some
God.
people on
All
the other
right.
side of a computer screen. Okay. We'll let you go. Take care of your child.
Bye, guys.
Bye.